My name is Teddy Jacobson of Actions by T. I am a pistol smith in Sugar Land, Texas. I am a trigger specialist and work on over 100 different models of handgun actions. This tape will be about the disassembly and reassembly procedure for most of the Sig Sauer pistols for cleaning purposes. I will show you how easy it is to replace your trigger should you want to install a shorter one. If you want to thoroughly clean your action piece by piece, this tape will teach you the correct way. My only intent in making these tapes is honesty and integrity, and I do want people to understand what not to do regarding a SIG pistol. I will explain it all in complete detail. I plan on making many more additional tapes, and you will hear things you have never heard before. I deal in reality and honesty. I rework SIG pistols for law enforcement nationwide. I would like to discuss some of the tools that I use. First, this is, before I begin the tools, let me say this, that I recommend that you always have an exploded drawing of the particular handgun you are going to disassemble. The drawing on display here now is from the SIG factory, and this is a P220. This shows all the parts. If you do not have a particular drawing, call the company or contact the factory and tell them you want a maintenance manual or an instruction manual, and they will always have an exploded drawing in there. Usually the second page you will see a listing of the parts, and the numbers here correspond to the same numbers that appear on the drawing. Like for instance 25, and you would look up number 25 on the exploded drawing and it would tell you what that part is called. When you look at other drawings, for instance this drawing is of a SIG P228, and so it shows you all the intricate little parts. And the second sheet I have behind it will show you a listing of the parts and their responding numbers. They correlate exactly to the exploded diagram. But I think that it's important to have a diagram of anything that you do before you take it apart. Sometimes I will take a drawing apart, a gun apart, without having a drawing, but I make a drawing as I go. So I'm very cautious about that. This is one of my tools that I use to manipulate a wire spring. So you can see it's basically a screwdriver blade with a notch cut in it. See if this will help a little bit right here. Right here at the tip of it, there is a notch cut in the blade. I use that for certain wire springs. Some of the other tools that I use for SIG work are, these are roll pin punches. The difference between a standard punch and a roll pin punch, this has a little protruding piece of metal at the very tip where you can see there is it fits inside the end of the roll pin, so the roll pin does not get crushed on entry or removal. I'm using this fiber optic light to highlight some of the more critical tools. I'll talk about the tools as we go, and I want to show you this SIG 220 first. This is my own personal SIG 220. There's been a number of problems associated with the trigger return spring on all the Sig pistols. Many gunsmiths I've seen through the years, and these are reputable, well-known guild names from the guild, I've seen them install the trigger return spring in the wrong place. And I'm going to show you where to look. Right now I'm going to remove the right grip panel off this Sig 220. And we're going to get a close-up of this. This is the trigger return spring. It's a little piece of wire. And this here hooks in to the bottom lower rear of the trigger bar. I'm gonna lift it off right now. Many gunsmiths incorrectly put it here. I repeat that. Many gunsmiths who have very well-known names don't know any better, and they put it in this little hole. The gun will not work properly if you put this in this hole, and it could cost you your life. This is a terrible mistake. Many people do this. It belongs in the lower portion of the trigger bar in the notch. It does not belong in the hole in the trigger bar. Very critical. So this is correct. We'll get into that in further discussion in a few minutes. I'm just going to put this grip panel back because I plan on taking apart one of these other SIGs. I use a snap-on ratchet screwdriver for all my work. They're all color-coded. For instance, this one here is another snap-on ratchet screwdriver, but I keep an Allen type bit in here. I never, very seldom do I ever change bits. I have different screwdrivers, and each one has a bit in them, so I don't have to fool with what sizes I need. This is a Sig 229, and this has Allen type screws, aftermarket screws in them. This Allen screw bit will fit in there and remove that. This is a Sig 225. This is a 9mm. This is a Sig 245, one of their newer ones in double action only. But I'm going to take apart the 229 and go over it with you. Before I decided to make this video, I looked at other videos. And I've watched other gunsmiths take apart Sig pistols. And you do not need a slave pin to put this gun back together. I'm going to show you, make it very easy. I'm going to show you how to totally take it apart for disassembly and reassembly. And in my decision about this particular video, I called the factory Sig gunsmith, who's a personal friend of mine, and I decided, and he agreed with me, that it would be a very bad idea to take apart the slides of these SIGs for the average person. You're looking for trouble. I know some of these other videos show how to take apart the slide, but a lot of problems result where people cannot get the pieces back in the slide properly, and they have to wind up sending their gun back to the Sig factory. So I'm gonna explain a few things about that. Right now I'm going to take the panels, the grip panels, off this Sig 229. And this has the Allen screws. You never want to make an Allen screw too tight because you will strip the heads. Now I use two little stainless steel